7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo!
So rises the new era of American spaceflight, and with it the ambitions of a new generation continuing the dream. 20 seconds into flight, stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Thing coming up to the atmosphere.
Flying crew on board Dragon and Falcon 9, and look at them go. Falcon 9 entry nominal.
They're in the clouds. That means they should be in the atmosphere in a few minutes.
We're in the throttle locket. Reports say all systems are go. Vehicle supersonic. We've exceeded Mach 1 on the Falcon 9.
M1D throttle up.
We're throttling back up to full power as we're through max Q.
Copy 1 Bravo. We heard that 1 Bravo call out. That's just the second abort zone that they're in. They'll continue to be on this until the first stage has done its job and they switch over to the second. At this point, Bob and Doug pulling about 2.3 Gs, 2.3 times the Earth's gravity, already moving at over 1,500 miles per hour.
We've heard the call out for MVAC engine chill. That's getting the MVAC engine ready to light. That'll come at about 2:44 into flight. Right now, everything continuing to look good. Next major event coming up is going to be the triple. We'll have main engine cutoff of the 9 first stage engines, stage separation, and then ignition of the second stage engine.
That thing in the atmosphere already, or huh?
That's what happens. Coming up in about 20 seconds.
Yeah, that thing's already in the atmosphere, above the clouds.
We're throttling down the Merlin engines on the first stage. And we have Miko. Falcon stage separation confirmed. And back again.
So what's happening?
Alright, we have stage separation confirmed. The first stage beginning its flight back. The second stage being powered by that single Merlin 1D vacuum engine has ignited and is now carrying Bob and Doug into orbit. So they're going to continue under the power of this second stage propulsion is nominal, which will cut off at SECO, or second engine cutoff, in about 8 minutes and 44 seconds into today's flight. So a little over 5 minutes to go still on this second stage. You're going to call out 2 alphas, so they're now in the longest abort zone that carries them all the way from about North Carolina up the eastern seaboard, almost to Canada. Things looking good though, getting good call outs, nominal propulsion on that second stage. Bob and Doug continuing to make their way into orbit.
Dragon SpaceX nominal trajectory.
Earth blow?
Uh-huh. It's a low.
SpaceX Dragon nominal trajectory.
All right, here in nominal trajectories, the Dragon pointed in the right direction, continuing to make their flight uphill. Heard acquisition of signal Bermuda. That's one of the other ground stations that they're using to get telemetry and data back from this spacecraft.
Stage 2 propulsion is still nominal.
It's that light I see.
What light?
That light from the phone. It's on there.
I'm recording.
Yeah, you don't need the light.
I know.
A little over 4 minutes, 40 seconds into the flight. Bob and Doug flying at more than 5,600 miles per
Dragon
hour.
SpaceX nominal trajectory.
5,600 miles.
Already almost 200 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. Nominal trajectory continuing. And while they continue up, it looks like we are getting a view of the first stage as well.
Our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You today. And we're just about a couple minutes away from the entry burn, and that's where 3 of the 9 Merlin engines do ignite to help slow the vehicle down as it re-enters back into the Earth's atmosphere. And then after the entry burn will be the landing burn, which is just a single
Dragon
engine.
SpaceX nominal trajectory.
And you heard
Starting chill for entry burn.
is that call out. They are still on a nominal trajectory on Dragon, still on second stage, and that's that MVAC engine on second stage on your left screen. Again, on your right screen is that first stage booster coming back towards our drone ship. Of Course I Still Love You. We're about a minute away from entry burn.
That thing on the right is coming back.
Meanwhile, that second stage continuing to power Dragon into orbit. Again, if you're keeping an eye on that timer, that's going to continue to burn until 8 minutes and 44 seconds into flight. So a little over 2 minutes from now, we'll hear the call out SECO. It'll then be a little over 3 minutes until Dragon physically separates from the second stage of the Falcon 9 after the upper
Dragon
stage gets a
SpaceX
chance.
nominal trajectory.
So what's happening? Are they going? Where are they going?
That, see the picture on the right?
Continuing to
Uh-huh.
check in
That
with
is the
Bob and
first
Doug
stage. It's
if they
coming
are
back
on a
to the
nominal
Earth.
trajectory.
Is going to land.
Just about 10 seconds away from that first stage, starting that.
So they're
entry
going to
burn on the
land.
Right screen, we should be able to see that view live.
Stage 1 entry burn started.
Sure, they're going to land
And
at
there is
Earth
that
or
entry burn beginning. This burn lasts about 36 seconds long.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
so are they landing back to Earth or?
No, just that. No, they're going to the space station.
Well, that entry burn continues. We're just about a minute away from SECO. We'll have a number of events all happen in rapid succession. That'll be the second engine cutoff.
Stage 1
We'll be
entry
looking for that stage 1 landing burn shortly after.
Actually, just within a few seconds of each other. Such a cool view on your left screen, seeing Bob and Doug on Dragon. Right now you can see the displays that they
So
are
this
seeing
is
right
just
now
a
inside
test?
of it.
Not a test. No, this is a real
MVAC
thing.
cutoff set.
We are coming up 25 seconds or so away from SECO, or second engine cutoff.
This is also the point where Bob and Doug are experiencing their highest G-force. We're seeing the counter tick up to right about 1.8.
Copy Shannon.
You heard Shannon, so that just means they're in their final abort zones. If they were to abort at this point, it would either be an abort to orbit or to land off the coast of Ireland. Standing by for second confirmation.
MVAC dial set. MVAC shut down. Stage 1 landing.
Confirmation of SECO's second engine cutoff.
Now we are waiting for our first stage to make its
The
way
land
to our
right
drum
there,
ship.
the
Of course, I
first
still love
Dragon
you.
SpaceX nominal orbital insertion.
Just confirmation nominal orbital insertion.
Stage 1 landing was deployed.
And what you're seeing on your screen is a live view of our drone ship.
I just want to explain something that you're hearing. You hear a lot about, Of Course I Still Love You. This is the drone ship that is going to be responsible for retrieving the first stage that will descend into the Atlantic. These are reusable. Remember, these boosters or stages are reusable. 2 different drone ships will be picking them up. So when you hear that, it's not a country love song. It's really a way and a means by which they reuse these devices when they come back down to Earth before they just fall into the ocean and start from scratch. Elon Musk and SpaceX have found ways to keep reusing them, dramatically cutting the cost of space travel, as well as the cost of this.
Sorry, my finger gets
Orbital
keeps
insertion, so that
getting in
means
the way of this
Falcon
camera.
9 and Dragon right now exactly where they're supposed to be.
Kennedy to FRC, Eric, everyone.
And it's right at about 12 minutes
This is FRC.
when Dragon will separate.
Yeah.
Looks like we saw a zero-G indicator floating around there. I know Bob and Doug owe us a little bit about what exactly that is that they brought up with them.
And before separation, before Dragon initiates separation from the second stage, they do make sure to they do ensure that the vehicle is not spinning and is in good condition before we separate.
That's right, the upper stage does small attitude maneuver using some cold gas thrusters built into the rocket body itself.
Exactly. So we do expect that separation to occur in about a minute from now, but they do wait until they have full confirmation that it is ready to separate. Such cool views. I cannot get over this view that we're seeing right now. Bob and Doug on the right screen, inside of Crew Dragon, out in space.
Yeah.
How long is this gonna take?
200
1 hour?
kilometers over planet Earth, or a little over 124 miles, traveling in excess of 2,700 meters, 27,000 meters per second, or about 16,000 miles per hour.
Wow.
15,000 miles.
Look at the
Yeah, we're
speed
just
right there.
standing by. That separation event should be coming up shortly. Then they'll begin a series of checks on the Draco thrusters that are going to be used to maneuver and then power Dragon on its
Speed
flight to the
right
International
there.
Space Station.
Oh my god.
Standing by for separation.
Expected loss of signal.
Do you see the speed?
It sounds like we have
Have you seen the
expected
speed?
LOS loss of signal with one of the ground stations.
Hello?
Waiting for
Have you seen the
confirmation
speed?
now.
Dragon separation confirmed.
Dragon
Have you seen the speed?
There is a great view right in front of
15,000 miles
you
an hour.
of Dragon
That's it.
separating.
That's a second.
And there's that call out.
Rocket
Dragon is
separated.
now officially making its way to the International Space
There is a
Station.
great
Now they're headed
breath of
for the
relief right
International Space
now. Crew Dragon is now in space, is now on its own. And by the way, it's not Dragon. It's going north of 16,000 miles an hour. And that final separation has it now separated, and it will be on its nearly 19-hour journey to hook up with the International Space Station itself, traveling at about 17,000 miles an hour. And to mathematically get that hookup right, you have to be down to 1/10,000th of a decimal in both your speed and timing and visuals. It is so overwhelmingly complicated, it makes me beg for having done better or trying to do better in calculus. But that doesn't even matter here. Tom Jones, the astronaut with us right now. Tom, there was a collective sigh of relief with that final separation. How do you feel?
I'm just amazed. I think this is a fabulous development for the United States space program. And we've got 2 people in orbit on their way to the space station. The system worked perfectly. You know, I had my heart pounding and, you know, tears in my eyes as this launch took place. So this is really a momentous event. I'm so happy for Bob and Doug, and I'm really technically amazed that this system has pulled this off so flawlessly, and it's a great sign of things to come.
You know, Tom, I'm glad the camera wasn't on me for that item, my friend. You know, the one thing that's remarkable I can remember as a kid, and it was only filmed in those days, and it was provided well after the fact. Who can forget when John Glenn was launched into space, and it was, you know, this grainy film footage. He swore that he was seeing sparks and what looked like fireflies at the time. You could barely make out the image. But now this was so crystal clear, it looked like 8K. I don't know what it was. But between the astronauts in the capsule and then the views of the stages being jettisoned, something we would never see in the past. Some of the later shuttle missions, probably your own, got to show some of that, but not nearly as crisply or as sweepingly as this.
It's very important to share this experience as widely as we can and as intimately and as split second as we can. So we want to appreciate what the astronauts are going through during this harrowing journey to orbit. You know, they're subjected to almost 4 Gs, a lot of vibration from the rocket. And it looked pretty calm on the screen there, but I know the adrenaline was flowing through their veins. They were just as excited as we are down here. So to share that experience and to project yourself into the Crew Dragon on the way to the space station, I think is a way to get people excited about experiencing this on other occasions, maybe going to the Cape personally or taking a ride in 10, 20 years as a tourist or being an astronaut yourself one day. It's a great way to share this dynamic experience.
You know, it's one thing to go through the pressure, talking about pressure, 4G on the body, but then to know, you know, millions of people that are watching you on live TV as you do so. Are you cognizant of that when you're in that position? It's one thing to say, oh, I'm fine. Wait a minute, the whole world's watching.
Yeah, well, we used to have a joke in the astronaut office, which was, you know, it's great that they can watch me on TV. Uh-oh, they can watch me on TV. So you can get help, but you can also get embarrassed.
Well, you know, it's nothing embarrassing about you, young man. I want to bring Doug Wheelock into this also, like Tom, no stranger to this sort of thing. This you know, 19-hour journey to get to the International Space Station. You know what they can do about that. Timing is going to be everything. It's a race at a very incredible speed. Everything's got to be precise. Could you play out these next 19 hours?
Absolutely. It's actually great to hear from Tom Jones as well as Charlie Duke, both of them my heroes coming on into the astronaut program. So hello to them. So now we begin the real. It's sort of like a finely choreographed dance between the SpaceX Dragon and the International Space Station. They each have each other's state vector, and now we're going to just try to catch up to it. And traveling at 5 miles per second around the Earth, and we're gonna dock just like with a kiss of the 2 spaceships in space, and it's just very amazing. And so there's a series of burns, correction burns, to raise our orbit, to circularize our orbit, and over the next 19 hours, we're going to be doing phasing burns, correction burns to try to match precisely up with the International Space Station.
Now, this will also be the same capsule that will return, and we just don't know how and when that will be and which one of the astronauts or cosmonauts presently up at the International Space Station will come back, but they will be coming back in this, right?
That's correct. That's correct. In fact, you know, a successful mission for us is to have Bob and Doug home safely, and we'd like to get a 30-day mission. If all things are going well, we'll stay till 30 days. And then at that point, if everything's still going well, we hope to extend it out even as long as 120 days.
Wow, that's a long time. For the astronauts, when you get that relief of once you're in space, once you're in, out of the atmosphere, you're no longer dealing with the multiple Gs, the 4G thing. I mean, physically, you got to feel a lot better, right? I mean, because that's a pressure cooker.
You do feel a lot better, and when you asked, millions of people are watching us on TV. I'm sure that did not go through their mind until that second stage engine cut off, and they could really kind of breathe a sigh of relief and say like, wow, that was amazing, because they were completely focused. I remember on my ascent on both the space shuttle and the Soyuz, I was just completely focused, and you almost forget to smell the roses along the way, you know. So, but now they're gonna have an experience physiologically. It really changes you, every part of your being. Of course, your physical, the physical things that go on that change in your physiology, in your mental state, your emotional state, and your kind of your spiritual kind of purpose-driven state. You know, it sort of rounds out all those parts of the human existence. And so it really, space changes you, not only physiologically, but in other ways as well. And it helps you really appreciate this beautiful blue planet that we live on, for sure.
No, that's for sure. We were showing some images of the astronauts. I didn't want you to think that aliens had taken over the ship. That was footage from earlier today. Those gentlemen and women now wearing the black suits that look almost like ninjas. They help prepare the astronauts and get them set up in the capsule. I didn't want you to think that aliens had somehow taken over the capsule here, but they are well on their way right now. And astronaut Tom Jones, on this experience that Doug was alluding to here, you got to be relieved when at least you're at this stage, because at least the initial hard part is over. What are some of the bumps now? I don't want to, be a crate banger here, but what are some of the things they have to prepare for ahead of what's going to be a very precise, has to be exact hookup with the International Space Station?
Right. You experience the launch almost as an observer. You're almost detached from your body as you watch yourself go through the acceleration, the vibrations, and you're monitoring the autopilot. So you're part of the world's greatest physics experiment for the first 8 minutes, 45 seconds here. And then when you get weightless, the starter gun goes off. That's when your mission is really starting, and you've got to perform to everybody's expectations. And so now you're getting ready to transition the ship from blast-off mode to orbital mode, switching software modes over, getting rid of getting the solar cells online to charge your batteries on board, to convert the cabin to orbit mode, get out of your spacesuits, and prepare the life support systems for orbital mode. So all of the systems checkouts occur, and that's where these test pilots are going to be at their best.
The only thing I got like into it, you guys, you and Doug are the heroes here, and the astronauts, the world trying out an amusement park. That's my experience here, and I got plenty sick on that. So I can imagine what that pressure's got to be. But Tom, when you look at this now and what it showed private enterprise can do, working in conjunction with NASA, this is one of the toughest feats that men can pull off. This is a very good sign, I would imagine.
Well, it's going to be fantastic to have NASA engage with these two suppliers of transportation to the space station. It's a very healthy commercial sector that's being demonstrated here today. We can go on to tourism, we can go on to private research modules at the space station and independent labs in orbit. And that's a world-beating capability. Nobody else has that capability. We're now extending this innovation, to low Earth orbit. And beyond that, I can see companies like Blue Origin, SpaceX, Boeing, Sierra Nevada, all being part of our return to the moon. And they might be supplying the landers that take astronauts back to the surface in just a few years.
That's a very good point. You've got multiple private players there already. Jeff Bezos, he's needing this stuff. Richard Branson, so they all want a future part to play in all of that. Tom, thank you very much. I want to go to Kristen Fisher right now. Kristen, in case you didn't know, besides being a Crackerjack reporter, correspondent, anchor, she is the daughter of astronauts. You might have heard that once or twice here. I'm always fascinated by that because I remember quite well, seeing as I'm so much older than Kristen. She was called our first astrochild. But she eschewed going into space. Fortunately, went into journalism. The world is grateful for that. But Kristen, when I'm reading about the fact that this is going to lead to space tourism, you and I might get a second shot at this. I don't know how you feel about that, but what do you think?
Neil, you could be the first journalist in space. Think about it. And boy, what a launch after all those concerns about weather. All the concerns, the scrub on Wednesday. Today they ended up getting beautiful blue skies. And now, what a day for both NASA, SpaceX, and Elon Musk. What he has been able to accomplish in just a few short years. There were a lot of people who didn't think he would be able to do it. Now his company has become the first to put astronauts from any country into orbit. They've also been able to prove that they can land the rocket, the Falcon 9 rocket, on that drone ship and reuse it in the future. And that is so critical for the future of human spaceflight because it makes it more affordable. It makes it more financially feasible to have more frequent rocket launches. And of course, this has also been such a huge day for President Trump. He went down on Wednesday, he went back again, he wanted to be there. He has made space such a huge priority in his administration. And right after the launch, he was asked, why did you want to be there? Why was this so important to you? Here was his response. Do we have that soundbite?
I don't believe we have that. No, Kristen, we do not. I apologize for that. I know you're right. Go ahead.
Not a problem, but I can paraphrase. He was basically saying that I wanted to be there for this moment because it was such a historic moment for NASA, for SpaceX, and for the entire country. And I'd be, as you hear these protests behind me becoming a little bit louder, it's just striking the contrast between you watch this moment of American ingenuity, the green